Welcome to the Daisy Blue Fashion Variety Show. I am Nancy Blizzard, your host. My guest today is Brooke Snelgrove from Merlot Designs. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
Yes.
This is wonderful.
Definitely.
I want to hear all about your business and how you got started in fashion.
Fashion really came to me out of the blue. I originally was pursuing a very scientific academic route. I was doing research. That's what I went to school for and what I graduated for. But I realized I didn't like it. It was not bringing me satisfaction, and I wanted to feel satisfied in my work. So I ended up withdrawing all of my PhD applications from school, leaving California where I went, and moving to Colorado. And just took a moment to myself to kind of evaluate what I was really looking for in my life. And part of that conversation that I was having with myself was, what did my childhood Brooke want to do? And I just kept thinking about all the moments when I was playing with my Barbies. And I would undress all of my Barbies and I would lay them up in a line. And I would have all of my clothes sorted by shirts, dresses, pants, etc., you name it, color-coded shoes. And I would individually dress every single Barbie. And I realized through evaluating my life, that's what I kept going back to as a child, is I just loved clothes. And I realized in 5th grade, my friend and I had this huge plan to buy out this really old hot dog shop and transform it into a boutique where we could sell clothing. And that was the memory that I had a trigger. And I was like, oh, I should design clothes. And so I just started looking for ways that I could start to get involved with making clothing in the fashion industry. And I just talked to people, just met people, started to learn about different techniques, because primarily I'm self-taught, never went to school for fashion. I just design on myself and off of what I think women would want to wear.
Oh my gosh, and when did you start learning how to sew?
About when I was 10. I started to deconstruct clothing and making like pillowcases and like little like placemats with my grandmother, and she taught me how to sew buttons and things like that. And as I got older and I was able to start shopping on my own, my mom would take me to like Goodwill and other thrift stores, where I would pick out clothing that I liked off of its fabric or its color, whether it was my size or not, I didn't care. And I would take that home with me and I would rip it all apart. And then I would put it back together in new ways that I preferred. And so that's kind of how I learned how to put clothing together, was just from deconstructing other clothes. I started at a young age making clothing for myself, and it really became this trend throughout my life, where when I was wanting to have time alone and to just really contemplate and to have that quietness, I would just start to make something. And it's transformed into being really an active form of meditation for me. And it helps me center my thoughts and ground me, and it's just highly enjoyable. Then you can work 16 hours every day and be happy about it. And that's something that I love the most about this, is I never feel like I'm working. You can work 16-hour days and not care and just be happy to do it again the next day. I'm just passionate and love clothes and just want to express that to the world.
Do you have a style?
Yeah, I think I'm still developing that style. I want my style to be synonymous with what's coming rather than what's been in the past. So I really want to look forward and develop new style. In the past, I really like loose clothing. I like leggings. I like, mix and matches. I mostly look at fabric and kind of how the clothing feels. As a designer, I'm now looking at the future and kind of seeing, okay, how can we take all of these styles that have been over the past 100 years and make them into something cohesive that we can utilize as the new millennium? I don't know trends really. I just look at something and decide I like it or I don't. And it's really that simple. I think adaptability is key, and I just keep my mind open. Look good, feel good. You know, that's something I've been saying since I was 14. If I dress well and I love what I'm wearing, then I'm going to feel good. And I want that to translate into my designs so that when a woman puts on my clothes, she's going to look in the mirror, see that she looks good, and then feel really good about herself and have that confidence to go take on the world with whatever she needs to do that day.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of your models.
So this is just a casual look that I put together, going back to that free-flowing sort of spirit. That's where the overthrow comes in. That's what I call it. You just pull it on and over your shoulders and you're good to go. I love velvet texture. I really believe it complements the skin tone and helps, you know, illuminate the person wearing the velvet. The shorts, I absolutely love. They're just supposed to be fun, kind of flirty. The shortness is to have that sex appeal in there without being a little bit too, you know, flaunty about it. Feels good to wear too.
What kind of materials do you like?
I love leather, I love velvet, and I love silk. Definitely those are my top three. But I also love any fabric that just feels really good in my hands. Fabric is essential to clothes. It's what makes the clothes. So if you don't like how a fabric feels, why would you like the garment that's created from it?
What's the top made out of?
It's made out of a synthetic velvet. I chose to do synthetic so that it was thinner and would feel a little bit lighter on the shoulders and in the bust. It's meant to just kind of flow down and be that free flowy sort of spirit against the shorts that are a little bit more structured.
I've never would have guessed that would have been synthetic velvet.
And I'm not shy about it either. I know there's a lot of designers who are really strict on staying with the organic materials, but I do think that it's just a part of our world right now. So why not just take advantage of it and make it into something beautiful? The bunch sleeve I got from sweatshirts actually. And how you'd wear sweatshirts, and I just loved how it would be tighter in my wrist and then have this nice bunching of fabric on my forearm, and I really wanted to take that into this look here.
I like that. Words of good wisdom. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
Let me see another model.
Again with the synthetic, except in legging form. So this is the same material that was used in the shirt that Akira was wearing, except in pant version. And I do custom make my leggings to the dimensions of a woman's body. I sew it a little bit differently than how I've been shown how to sew pants. And that's because I like to take into consideration the proportions of women from their waist to their hips, because it varies. And I wanted my leggings to just hug the body and kiss it. Because I am self-taught, I hand make all of my patterns. And I just don't fit into that traditional garment making. So I've decided to do sizing that is a little bit more unique to me. And for leggings, for instance, I take the waist size and I take the hip size and the inseam. And I make it from that.
So they fit perfectly.
I came up with the sleeves kind of based off of that sweatshirt idea as well, where it's going to be fitted in the wrist, but a little bit softer throughout the elbow and the forearm. And I started thinking about large bell sleeves and how they always get in your way, but they look cool.
Yeah.
And so I decided to capture the flow of the sleeve into a cuff. So that way, when her arms are down, it looks like a larger bell sleeve, except when you move your hands around, it's not going to get caught in anything.
I love that fabric. It just got a little bit of, just a teeny bit of sparkle in it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every woman sparkles a little bit.
What's the blouse made out of? What material?
That is a silk viscose blend. And then the leather is all of the details, including around the collar and in the front panel and on the cuffs.
And can we bring up another model too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love this. This is more of your going out kind of look.
I love the color.
Thank you. That is, I dyed that myself. You know, it's fun, it's flirty. The idea is to have that kind of sex appeal women look for and going out, and keep it in modesty. Going back to that fun and flirty, you know, it lays high on the neck, but it drapes lower. So there's room, when you move around, it kind of bounces around and gives that kind of, oh, like what, you know, who's this girl all about kind of vibe. You can put something on underneath and make it a little bit more conservative. You can wear it out to a dinner. You can wear it out to like a family gathering if you really wanted to. There is versatility that can be used with this dress. I do like to keep a focus in my clothing about functionality and versatility, because women are busy nowadays, you know? Like they go to work and then maybe they have an outing after work, and I wanted to design clothes that could be used in both settings. Draping is probably my primary way of designing, just because I like to go back into the fabric. I like to go off of how the fabric feels, almost like having a conversation with it. So I usually drape it on my dress form and just kind of play with it and see where it lies and see where I like it, where I don't, and then go off of that. And then I like to take pictures, and sometimes I draw on like my cell phone with, you know, the little like app that you can draw on, and then I'll draw on the picture to make my design. And I like to utilize technology. So I use just my finger to sketch on top of the image to kind of give the embellishments of what I'm looking for. And then I go into the measurements of the garment itself, and I draw the pattern based off of proportional measurements.
And do you ever start something and have it not work out, or maybe?
Oh, definitely. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into a look and it's come out completely different than how I expected, but it's always better, and I'm okay with it. So I've just learned that it's a part of my process to just kind of go with it. And, you know, it's almost like, again, that fabric has a language of itself, and it's telling me I want to go this way. I do usually have a conceptual image in my mind, but I keep my mind open and adaptable, so that way I don't get trapped in that first thought of how I want it to look. I'm able to kind of change it as I go. I think it's just part of that designing process where, you know, it's kind of like, okay, let's see what I can do. I have learned so much. I've had almost 16 jobs, and I'm only 24, you know? So I feel like I've learned a lot of tools that have equipped me to be a business owner and to run a company that is also creative.
So I understand you were in Unique Week Fashion.
Yes.
How was the show?
It was great. I was so happy with how things went. You know, the event was really well organized. Stacey James did the hair and makeup, and they did a fantastic job. I was very happy with their work, and the models were all really cooperative, and everyone just worked really well as a team, and I couldn't have asked for anything to go better. It was a great first fashion show, that's for sure. As a designer, you have to put yourself out there and believe in it. If you don't believe in what you're putting out there, then, you know, just maybe it's not for you. I'm just so pleased at how positively people have reacted to my designs. It feels like such an honor.
And how do you feel about the Denver fashion scene?
I love the Denver fashion scene. Yes, it's small right now. However, that's the beauty of it. It's growing, and it's also taking on its own identity as well. And there's this great vibe of people from all over the country that have come here. So they've brought with them all of their different styles. And I feel like those styles are blending together in Denver and creating the Denver fashion scene. Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm so happy to be a part of it. Food scene is excellent here, and I feel like fashion is just right there with all of that, growing and becoming more developed and refined, and I just see it going in really great places. I think as it grows, it's going to gain more attention from the rest of the country and the world.
And how do you see fashion going for the future?
I see a transformation sort of happening, maybe not immediately, but in time. I feel like a lot of women right now are feeling a little bit secluded in themselves and kind of trapped. A lot of people have jobs that they're unsatisfied with. A lot of people are not happy at school, in their relationships. And a lot of times I just hear these conversations of me feeling trapped is what I keep hearing from people. And I feel like the fashion is a sort of representative of that, where there's a lot of structure, there's a lot of form-fitting clothing, and I feel like it's a reflection of that mentality of feeling trapped and sucked in. So my goal and where I see fashion going in the future is opening that up into something that's more fluid, a little bit more expressive. It allows the person to shine through the clothing rather than the clothing just being a part of the person.
So what are your future plans?
I want to get my production going and have like a lot in stock. I want to travel around. I want to meet more people in the industry. And like I mentioned before, I do want to open up my own store and branch off into California, then Chicago and New York as well. I do want to show more around the country. I don't want to isolate myself to Denver. I want to go big. I want to celebrate life with women and with clothing. So my intention is to just do what I can to buckle down and work hard so that will be possible for me.
And are you working right now?
I work on the side a little bit in restaurants just to make some extra money for myself that I put towards either necessities or to my clothing, whatever I kind of need. It gives me a little bit more playroom. I think my biggest challenge is just getting everything in place, because there's so many details that are involved with starting a business and with making fashion too. There's a lot of industry little side loops that you must pay attention to. There's a lot of people to meet. There's marketing involved. There's financials involved. So getting all of that into place is, I think, my biggest challenge at the moment. However, I just know when it comes together, it's going to be just so great.
Thank you for watching the Daisy Blue Fashion Variety Show here at Denver Open Media with my guest, Brooke Snelgrove from B. Merlot.
Merlot. Like the wine.
Yes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.